Hi, welcome to Healing from Grief and Loss, where top experts guide you on your journey to find strength, comfort, and joy again. I'm Andrea, your host, and on today's show, my guest expert is the lovable and sweet Iris Arenson-Fuller. Iris is a life and loss transformation life reinvention coach. She's also a poet and an author. And this little lady, she's been through a lot in her lifetime, and she has a lot to share with you. So sit back and relax, and I will see you in a few.
Hi everyone, my name is Iris Arenson-Fuller. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you read my bio for the Healing, Grief, and Loss Summit, you know that I'm a life and loss transformation life reinvention coach. I've been asked to present a video, and my topic today is Forever Changed by Loss. Some of you watching this video already know me. Some of you are meeting me for the first time today. I've been practicing as a coach for about 11 years now. While I work with clients to redesign their lives for a variety of reasons, including just because they want to be happier and more successful at whatever they decide on, I do a lot of work with many people who've been through tough times and have lost loved ones. Many of my clients have belonged to grief groups or sought therapy to help them before working with me. Some felt they received a lot of encouragement from their groups and also a lot of help from the therapy. Yet many people who end up being my coaching clients have found that those avenues just didn't give them enough practical, helpful tools for survival and for the changed terrain of their new lives without the loved ones they so desperately missed. Some of them found that doctors or therapists they saw were big advocates for taking medications for depression, for anxiety, or both. A lot of them didn't feel comfortable with that and just didn't want to do it. Others really wanted medication because they felt they would never feel okay or be able to function again after losing their loved one. They tried a variety of prescription meds and didn't feel they got any relief or that they felt better in any way. In fact, some of them have told me they actually felt worse. Now, I'm not against medication for those who truly need it. There are people who have long-standing diagnoses and who suffered from clinical depression or anxiety disorders long before they suffered the loss of a loved one. They need to keep on taking their meds or to have their prescriptions reviewed or tweaked by their doctors. I will tell you, though, that grief is a normal human condition. It's not a psychiatric diagnosis, and it's not the same as true clinical depression. Medication can possibly be a temporary band-aid for some, but much of the time, grief that's numbed or pushed back with medication is going to come screaming back up at a later time, and sometimes in a ferocious way. You may have heard the expression, "There's no way around grief but through it." And as I have learned, that is so very true. When I work with clients, I help them find and build some strategies or tools for resilience and for turning around the way they view life and even death. I'm not some Pollyanna talking through her hat. In addition to my training and experience, I've personally survived a lot. I had a husband who was stricken in his prime with a debilitating and rapidly progressive form of multiple sclerosis. He was seriously disabled for several years and then lost his life in a fire that destroyed our home and most of our belongings. I was left a widow at age 35 with 3 kids, the youngest of whom was just 4. I later went on to adopt a 4th child as a single parent. The fire happened not very long after we had lost 3 other beloved family members, and 2 of them only months prior. Somehow, my kids and I went on, but not without an unfortunate variety of subsequent struggles and too many additional losses over the years. Yes, there were many of those, sadly, but also so many joys and accomplishments. I did remarry after 14 and a half years of widowhood, but have certainly not forgotten what my kids and I went through, and I've not gotten over it, as some people asked me about even after only 1 year had passed. There have been lifelong effects. I will be completely honest and upfront with you. In my experience, we don't just get on with our lives after losing people we love. We don't exactly heal in the sense of being good as new. We have permanent scars, but we can and do learn to feel better. Yet we're forever changed in some ways. We have to work hard to move forward and to begin to reconstruct who and how we want to be. We have to make a lot of choices to change some long-standing habits and to practice doing things in a different way, because many of the old ways are not going to work for us anymore. Yes, it's true that we're forever changed by most of the losses in our lives. Serious loss usually has a permanent impact, but eventually we must make choices about how we want to live out our days. At first, and there is no predictable timeline since we're all different, it seems like life will never get better, and we believe we'll be miserable forever. We have to be careful not to get into the habit of constant misery, and even sometimes to force ourselves to find small things we can be grateful for. Grief is a complex journey, a whole process with many stepping stones along the way, and many hills and valleys along the way. I think the grief journey has some parallels to living with chronic physical pain, such as back pain. If you suffer from such chronic pain for a long while, perhaps you try different ways of alleviating it. You have to work with your doctor to find the most effective medication to help you without causing unpleasant side effects. Or perhaps you opt for a mind-body approach or a combo regimen like meditation, yoga, herbal remedies, etc. When you finally, hopefully, discover whatever it is that helps you begin to feel better and to improve your quality of life, you cautiously start to allow yourself to feel hope and optimism, maybe for the first time in a long while. It's not easy to be positive when you hurt all the time, or most of the time. So one day, after experimenting with various methods, you wake up, and as you move along with your day, you gradually begin to realize that something is different. Slowly, tentatively, a small smile begins to form on your face. You may test the waters by carefully extending one leg, putting your weight on it, and waiting to see if the searing pain you normally feel in your lower back takes over your brain and closes out the possibility of feeling much else that's positive. Suddenly you feel great, maybe for just a very brief time, but you feel as though a whole new universe has opened up for you, as though you've been given a gift you'd forgotten could even exist for you. You know, and your doctor or helping professional has explained, that this miraculous relief and diminishing of your chronic pain might not be total and might not be permanent, but it certainly feels incredible and unfamiliar. You know that this doesn't mean your condition is cured or extinguished, but only managed. You had forgotten how good such management could feel. You begin to enjoy the new state of affairs, even with a nagging fear that the pain could return at any moment. You don't want to live with that sword hanging over your head, but you must acknowledge that it is there. As the first week of pain relief and then several weeks pass, your focus on the pain slowly begins to recede from the most prominent place in your consciousness. Sure, it's there, and maybe you get a sharp, stabbing jolt when you take on a bit too much, because it feels so great not to be limited by the intense pain you had for so very long. But all in all, you realize you're doing pretty well. Little by little, your activities and choices begin not to be dictated by your pain. You begin to pay attention to the world going on around you and even to take pleasure in it. This, my friends, is how it feels when intense grief, with great subtlety, starts to lift so that you might not even recognize it at first. Without warning, a small hole in the thick curtain separating you from the world begins to form. Maybe nobody else sees or feels it, but you know it's there. A small beam of light fights its way in. You put your hand over your eyes from the shock because it has become so unfamiliar to you. But you cautiously peek through your fingers a bit to see if the light is there, or if you're imagining it. You've not seen it for so long. You choose to let it in. There may be some lingering and false guilt too, but you make a choice to let it go. We've all heard, have possibly dismissed, or even been angered by the cliche that our grief would be healed over time. No, as one who's had a lot of loss in life and has personally traveled the difficult road to healing more than once, I can tell you that we don't really heal over time. We don't wake up one day and find that our gray-colored world has turned into beautiful technicolor. It is a gradual relearning to enjoy the things in our life that we've mostly forgotten about. It's a gradual strengthening of our ability to feel pleasure again, even in the settings that have continued to remind us of our loss and of our pain. The ache of our loss does return because we are never completely healed. And we must accept that we are probably forever changed. We may have meltdown years or even decades later, triggered by certain memories or events, but we develop tools to handle them and shorten them. And they happen more and more infrequently. We're careful still, most of us, about the things and situations to which we expose ourselves because we know that our sadness and grief can be unpredictable, but we finally begin to step out into the life we've been avoiding. This is a choice, though, for most of us. We can choose to be imprisoned by our misery, or we can choose to acknowledge that it may never completely go away, but that there are still plenty of things left to enjoy in the world. If we avoid life, if we avoid giving a voice to our sorrow by pushing it away, we will pay for it. I remember receiving an email a long time ago from some former clients who had lost their young child and for whom the agony of her illness and loss had been unbearable. As always, the message communicated their great love for their daughter, who'd been adopted as an infant. Yet, there were new things in this message. There was finally good news about other people and events in their lives. There was much love and joy expressed over a new grandchild. The mom described a picnic they'd recently enjoyed on a beautiful day by the graveside of their daughter, and how peaceful and lovely it was. I know that their loss will always be with them. How wonderful it was, though, for me to hear how they had moved such a long way on their particularly difficult grief voyage. They had made the choice to honor their daughter by living their lives in the best way they knew how. Now, years later, they still miss her terribly, but have found ways to go on and to honor her with the knowledge they have gained of how to be compassionate to others who've lost loved ones, how to reach out, and what to say and do or not say and do. Everything in life is a lesson. Often, it's a lesson we didn't want. Our choice is to grow from the learning or to shove it into the big imaginary duffel bag at the back of our brains, where we shoved a lot of the lessons we had in school that we convinced ourselves weren't of any use to us. No matter what the past has looked like for you, how you have suffered, or even what wrongs you believe you've committed, I guarantee the sun always rises on a new day. It may still be hidden behind some clouds or waiting for the rain to stop, but it's there. You can decide to look at it, to let it warm you, or you can ignore it and stay inside with the curtains tightly drawn forever. Again, it's a choice. You may need to learn some new tools to help you make new choices, but that's all part of growing after loss. If you decide you're done growing and enjoying life, You will be done. Every new day is an opportunity to heal just a little more, to carry with you the learning and love you've gained from your pain and your losses, to honor your departed loved ones by living the very best life you can. This new day is your time to forgive yourself, to find a mission that fills you with hope, a mission that's larger than your pain and your fear. You will survive. You will thrive. I hope watching this has given you some things to think about. Please do download my free gift of some grief-related articles and other info. I hope you'll find value, comfort, and even some inspiration from them. I do want you to know that I give free phone info calls and consults if you're interested. My coaching clients and various groups that I offer periodically are usually conducted by phone or video conferences, so you can be located anywhere, though I'm in Connecticut on Eastern Time. I currently have a large free group on Facebook for widowed women and a small, low-cost membership coaching club with monthly group sessions also for widows, as well as doing intensive work with private clients who want to redesign their lives after loss or other difficult changes. Coaching is an investment in yourself for sure, if you're motivated and ready to reinvent yourself and to find joy, peace, and new purpose. Thank you so much again for watching. This is Coach Iris signing off. Bye.
Thank you for your words of wisdom, Iris. Isn't she just the sweetest? I can't wait to be in the same room with her. I hope something touched your soul today. If you want to reach out to Iris, her links will be below the video, along with her free gift. So in the meantime, be safe, be kind to yourself, and remember, you're not alone.